What up, my YouTube fam? It's Frisky Dingo here with another response video. Just wanted to reach out back to you guys. I uploaded a couple more videos last night. Did a little Manny Pacquiao versus Spence video. Very interesting. You should check it down below. I still got my Joe Budden versus Rory Mal response. I'm also going to do a Charlemagne versus Joe Budden response. So look out for those two videos coming out in the next 24 hours. Should get that to you guys by 5 today, if not 5 tomorrow. But today's video, we're going into John Cena versus the Republic of China versus Taiwan. And with this one, it's very interesting. You know, with John Cena, he's never been too politically out there. He's never been one to voice his opinion. He's never been one to go out and speak his mind on anything. Just to see him retract his statement in itself shows that, once again, a corporation is behind, you know, the message that's being sent out for their media. And that's obvious, you know. With WWE, it's a Fortune 500 company. It's publicly traded on the NASDAQ and the stock market. So therefore, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't want him to come out with that type of video. And you know, watching the video, his response was basically, I apologize for saying that Taiwan was a country. It's a part of China. And obviously, even in that message, you see that that's just Chinese politics, you know, taking a play at that point. So I can say overall that the entire experience of knowing John Cena in itself explains it all. And just seeing him having to post that information up, you know, it is disheartening, because he's supposed to be a role model. He's supposed to be somebody, you know, that obviously stands for more than what the average day person could do. And, you know, if you're working for a corporation, you don't have that much leeway to, you know, conversate about these certain topics that might adversely affect the corporation that, you know, you're working for. So I think that, you know, he did what he did. He got the response he did. The only thing he could have done is save his job at that point. And I do believe that at this point, WWE would have fired him if he would have not reinstated his statement. Instead of just being, you know, once again, a political speaking point, you know, they want him to be a wrestler. So, and in that sense, the wrestler personality is always going to outweigh the personal personality. And obviously, John Cena as a person, he's very vocal, he's very intellectual, he's spoken about things in his personal time. But when it comes to the wrestling, I think WWE is trying to take more of an inclusive measurement. You know, WWE has always been, you know, obviously it's always been, you know, cisgender white male moved forward. You know, almost every single main wrestler that was a legend had to be white at a certain point. You know, we have that rare few like, you know, Eddie Guerrero. Once again, that's how much it's crazy. But, you know, you have Mark Henry, you have Mabel, you have Rocky Johnson, you have The Rock, you know, you have The Godfather, you have Farouk. So, you know, you have all these different examples of, you know, these eras where it was only a certain type of race that could be put on the mainstead. And once again, you know, understandable for the times, but now we're in a new era, and WWE obviously realizes that they're trying to be more diverse. They're trying to, you know, bring in, you know, talent from different parts of the world, people from different organizations, and something like this can adversely affect them. So I can say overall that even with China, and when you look at how like China's political measurement, how they deal with, you know, getting the message out there. When you look at what happened with Disney, you know, Disney had their own situation where China was upset of the message they were saying about Hong Kong. They made them retract their press run that they did. What else? Also, the Blizzard situation. You had professional athletes who worked for who didn't work for, but they were players for Hero of the Storm, Overwatch, and there's another game, StarCraft 2, and they spoke out about it, and the same exact thing happened. Blizzard was forced to make a retractment and basically at that point say that they were not a part of the players' theology or identity or anything like that, and basically banned the player from doing any live events. So we've seen multiple times where China has tried to control the narrative. So we understand at a certain point that, it's not just communism with China. It's more or less, the ideologies and theologies that they continue to bring to the international politics. This is the way that they like to do things. And, it's not to say America doesn't do it either. America has their own, United States, we have our own type of way to control information and things like that. But at the same time, like, to have a wrestler have to speak out by saying that Taiwan, which is a country, that it isn't, because China still believes that it's a part of China because of their ideologies, is really upsetting. Just imagine the little Taiwanese kid who watches wrestling, knows nothing about this international greater struggle of historic prominence, and just knows that he's a wrestling fan, and he has to sit there and listen to why John Cena is saying that his country isn't a country because China wants that message to be what exactly it is. So I think that's the more upsetting part for the Taiwanese people who, died trying to protect their country, their beliefs, to get to a point where they can be, democratic in the sense of their leadership. It hurts the people who, left, died getting there. It hurts the children who, grew up with parents that didn't have their parents because they fought for those ideologies. And then it hurts the modern people of today, the people who are just living there and just, who are in love with John Cena, or who might not even know John Cena from wrestling. Maybe they know him from Fast 9 and they really like him from that. And they're saying, well, bro, why are you calling my country not a country? Why? Because you're trying to appease a whole entire other country because of their identity and their history problems. So I think that's the most upsetting part. Like I said, I believe that John Cena as the employee of the business, I can understand why they wouldn't want him to, keep that message up. I understand why they didn't want him to keep that message up. I understand why they want him to take it down and retract it. But at the same time, like I said, it's a very titular conversation to have when you talk about race, identity, politics, because even when you look at China in itself, this has nothing to do with communism. It just has to do with the imperialistic beliefs of these countries. Even though, yes, they've moved into modernization. Yes, President Xi, leads his country through a modernization. Of course, President Putin leads his country through modernization. But in the sense, the bare bones, these people are still very imperialistic. The way that they view how neighboring societies should view them. So when it comes down to Russia and China, especially, even though they're both believe in communism, their beliefs are not structured. Their country isn't structured in communism. Communism is just what allows them to keep themselves elevated in global politics. But realistically, when you look at Russia, right? Russia has about 12 people who control all the wealth in the country, including their president, right? They have cities of ghettos and things like that. That's not communism, because once again, communism is based on, the understanding, equality in the sense of doing business and on all boards. That's the kind of setting that they're, trying to keep. We want everyone to be equal, but all under control. With Russia, you read these documentaries of, them having cities, full cities, like a city that's the size of New York, Manhattan, right? Size of Manhattan, and it's just an entire ghetto. Just an entire ghetto. So that's basically what I'm saying. Like, these countries, yes, they say they're communistic. Their beliefs don't really align in communistic belief. This really has to do with imperialism, the national control that they have over everyone, and the image that they want to continue to have. They don't want to give up that power in the sense of image and respect. So I think that, this is a good conversation to have overall, because I think that a lot of people, have to get more awakened in the sense of understanding geopolitics. I don't know as much as I should, but one thing I do know that is that it's kind of disheartening to see a country like Taiwan have to, hear someone like this saying, John Cena saying that the country's not a country, but at the same time, trying to back China in its respected efforts. And we've seen that a lot, just like with the whole LeBron James situation. It was very disheartening to see LeBron James, backtrack on, speaking up to China. If we live in America and our amendments are saying, well, you have the right to express yourself in certain ways. It doesn't say you have the right to express yourself in employment unless you're employed. It doesn't say you have the right to express yourself unless you're making hundreds of $millions. It doesn't say you don't have the rights to speak unless you're some extremely poor person. So I think that's where a lot of people start to get confused, even in these conversations. They pretend like because LeBron James or John Cena make millions of dollars that they shouldn't speak on it, but at the same time they want to basically get upset at LeBron James or someone like John Cena when they don't want to speak on political issues or race issues or anything like that. And obviously we see from multiple point of views that when a narrative wants to be controlled, that narrative is going to go to the extent. And with WWE, they aren't the same like NBA players. NBA players can pick and choose what they want to say, what they want to do. But overall, NFL, NBA, they don't get signed into immediate contracts. So ultimately, you have an entire group of people who just have to do their job. Then you have another group of people that have to sit on the skirts and pretend if they want to do it or if they don't want to do it. So I think that's a very interesting conversation. Even with the whole LeBron James China situation, with when the Hong Kong protests happened, that was interesting. He should have spoke up, and kept his position. Once again, if he felt it was the right thing, stand by what you say. Don't back down because other press or money or anything like that, because then it ruins what you did in the first place. It literally makes it seem like you're just speaking for no reason. And with John Cena, I don't blame him. WWE has been very strict on messaging for a lot of years. They play the race card when they want to. They don't when they play it when they want to. They don't when they don't want to. They play the, with China card when they want to. When they don't want to be with China, they won't want to. So I think overall, we pretty much get a good understanding that it's money. And that's what it ends up coming down to. Money, right? Money is the root of why these people are having the conversation. It's why John Cena said what he said. It's the same reason why he's retracting his video. But like I said, it's just really disheartening because, once again, if there's Taiwanese fans, they shouldn't have to feel like they're being discluded or feel like they're not of their own country. And the same thing with people from Tibet, and the same thing with people who are the Uyghurs. They shouldn't feel like because they don't align with an ideology that existed since the beginning of the 1900s that they're inept as people to live in China. It doesn't really make sense to me. And once again, this all goes down to Taoism, right? With the whole Mao, with Maoism, let me rephrase that, Maoism. So with Maoism, once again, it was always the belief for the Chinese revolution people that his say, his belief, his ideology, his image was absolute, and there was no other thing that you could break away from that. And that imperialistic Maoism is what we're getting right now. That's the reason why they feel the need to control the narrative, because they understand that is what Mao wanted in the long run. He didn't want all these other things to be known about China. What needs to be known about China is exactly what you know, and that's it. They don't want anything else. So if it be a Tibetan monk, if it be a Muslim Uyghur, if it be, you know, Taiwan, if it could be China, you know, Korea. Look at the whole Korea situation. Like, the whole Korea situation in itself was very titular, because why? China and Russia were trying to, you know, once again, do what they do. So it all goes back to one person, and I don't think President Xi really has control over what currently goes on in today's understanding of China, right? He is just another long insulated puppet to control the Maoism that has existed through generations, and that's basically it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's their own country. You know, the peasant revolution, from what I read, was, you know, very phenomenal for, you know, the people, in the sense, even though it didn't, you know, it caused famine and things like that. It didn't really go the way they thought it went, but overall, you know, this is what people wanted. You know, when you look back at it, they got tired of imperialism. They want to, you know, start something new. So at the end of the day, I can't really be mad at these people, because once again, it's something that existed through history. And, you know, we're American. You know, I'm not American. I mean, I'm American, but not all my followers are American, and not all the viewers are American. So therefore, I can't come from an American standpoint to you guys and just say it's wrong. It's no. Like, that's not realistic. You know, there's people who live in China who've never been outside to any other country and don't know any better. So if I had a Chinese person watching my video, I want them to understand that, you know, once again, I understand the history to a certain extent. I understand that, once again, that, you know, you're in this environment that doesn't allow you to be expressive, but it's still country you love. But, you know, once again, it was all built because things weren't working, even in that sense. And even if it got worse or better, you know, that's pretty much the point of you know, people doing what they do. You know, we don't get anywhere in the world without nothing happening. And it's the same thing with the Russians, right? How did they get into this state? You know, same thing, imperialism. Their country got destroyed because, you know, there was one central power of wealth through families and whatnot. And the same thing for China. So those people revolted against those imperialisms. So that's what I can really say, is that I definitely understand the history overall, in the sense that I can say that I'm not upset. I'm just upset in the sense of, I'm not upset at China, the government. I'm upset at the people like John Cena who can do research on it and have a better way to say something, instead of just disincluding an entire country of people who know nothing but respecting that country, because it's a country. Taiwan's a country, right? If Taiwan was to get bombed right now, China's not going to come into defense of Taiwan. They're going to go try to get in it and annex it, and then install it back into China. That's all they do. But if China got bombed right now, America, you know, will be behind there trying to defend it, or, you know, Australia or whoever. That's the point I'm saying. Taiwan is a country in today's time, and we cannot spread that type of message that isn't, because it's very, 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 most extremely disgusting in any type of way, because once again, you're disincluding a whole millions of people. You know, you're creating a message that, you know, these people aren't really who they believe. You know, it's an identity. Like, you know, you gotta think about it. You know, Taiwan, the whole thing, 80s and 90s. So we're talking about multiple generations of people who grew up there, that do see themselves as one of their own. So that's basically what I could say for this video. I'm definitely doing an unboxing video coming up. I have a Joe Budden versus Charlemagne the God response video coming up. Check out from the unboxing video. I should have it up in the next day or so, or the next 24 hours, just depending on which box I want to open next. I have to look up which boxes are coming in so that I don't open up the master packs first. But once again, you'll get the video and I'll just be here. So check out for my next couple videos. Hit the link below to my Twitch. You can subscribe there. You can subscribe here on YouTube at Frisky Dingo. You can like the video, share it with your friends, get in the comment section, talk below. And then, you know, we'll get right back into the next video. So I'll just see you guys on the next one.